Hello there and welcome to Factorio. This video is sped up to 4 times speed, as is quite obvious from what you can see on screen right now. This is quite reminiscent of videos I used to make, actually. Especially with Kerbal Space Program, I would record for 4 to 5 to 6 to God knows how many hours, and there was always so much footage to get through that I didn't want to have to edit it all at real time, because that would take forever. So just speed up the footage, and hey, suddenly, maybe I don't have to do any editing at all. And that's what this video is. So welcome to the the lowest effort Factorio video. No, there's slightly more effort. I could have just uploaded the raw footage. This video was streamed live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/HOCgaming. And here we are playing Factorio. So what the hell is Factorio? If you've not seen it before, not heard it before, or not played it before, it's an automation game, essentially. You build up infrastructure. There are a few main resource types. Coal, which is the black stuff we're on right now. Iron down there in the bottom right. Stone directly beneath me right now. Wood that I was just chopping down trees to get. And copper, which on this map right now is somewhere to the southwest of my current position. And water, although water works a little bit differently. There's also other things like oil, but we don't get to that in this video, and it's a little bit more of a late game kind of resource. The main idea with Factorio is to build up technological prowess from nothing. From absolutely nada, from absolutely zilch, to go from refining raw resources all the way up to printing circuit boards, and eventually, at the very end of the game, you launch a rocket and escape off of this planet that you're on. You are not on this planet alone, by default. There's also alien hordes. I don't know what the alien race is called, if it even has a name. They're essentially Zerglings, as far as I can tell, from something like StarCraft. And, funnily enough, they only really come if you pollute the planet to an excessive amount, which is quite nice. It's like a self-righting system where human exhaust fumes will bring on the righteous justice, the banhammer of the Zergling race, to come and smack you and tell you to use clean, renewable energy instead. You never see them in this video, in this recording, because although what I have on screen right now is an awful lot of burner mining drills, which burn coal in order to power their mechanical drills, in order to mine more coal, in order to burn it, and so on and so forth, I actually don't build any more than those that we've already got on screen right now, I don't think, and so I never did get paid a visit from our alien eco-warrior friends. Here's the water that I mentioned earlier. The only really thing that we end up continually using in terms of burning coal is to boil water to drive some steam generators to create electricity for all of the electric automated mining drills that we'll be putting down ever so shortly. But yes, Factorio, a game of infrastructure, a game of logistics. It's one of those situations that reminds me of mining. Oh, and I want to point out that what's happening right now is really terrible. Apparently you can hold down the mouse button and it will auto-place at the optimal distance for you. I didn't know that until I was just told, I think around about here, by someone who was watching the stream. There's an advantage of watching the stream. Prevents you from suffering in silence, doing the same old thing, like I probably have been doing in my KSP Let's Play. Those videos are all recorded in advance, and so you'll start seeing the effect of the advice from the comments. Hey, Mosaic Task Force, thanks for the bits. 24 hours ago, or whenever this was streamed. You'll start seeing the effect of comments in my KSP videos some around the next episode or next couple of episodes. But yes, game of logistics and infrastructure and so on and so forth, and what that effectively means is that it's rather reminiscent of a coding project. If you've ever had a coding project, you start out just kind of placing things down wherever it feels suitable, and then you get kind of 24 hours in and you realize that, oh god, you needed so much more organization than you started out with. And that's the burden of foresight that I had with this playthrough, because I've played Factorio before, and I call this a playthrough. I only recorded for an hour and 20 minutes or so, but I have played Factorio before. I've played it for a good 50 hours or so, and as a result, I knew that this curve was coming, that this organizational layout requirement to space things out and have plenty of space left over and plenty of scale to produce things en masse was coming. And so that's why you see I've really tried to do exactly that. I've really tried to space things out as much as possible. I mean, here I am lamenting over the placement of these power lines just to get power to these auto-electric miners that you've seen me place down there. And the reason I was lamenting over it was simply because when you upgrade through the tech tree, you can get to a logistics research thing, which I think was higher up the tech tree, and that it was something I gained at a very early time when I played this game a long time ago, but it's been updated since. And that allowed me to send conveyor belts underground, so I could move resources underground and have things above ground on top of them. And the problem I encountered with placing things here and with placing things back where I'm mining the iron in the top right was that I used to have a really good kind of setup, a really good default for how I would place all these conveyor belts underground to allow energy pylons to go above ground. And that I can't do that now, and so I'm struggling to kind of figure out the exact optimal pylon placements to cover the greatest number of conveyor belts and arms and, well, not conveyor belts, because conveyor belts actually don't need power in this game, but, you know, the arms which pick things up and put them onto different places, and the electric mining grids themselves. Having that foresight of knowing that I need to be more optimal and organized, especially conjoined with being watched live on Twitch throughout all this, made it quite stressful. Quite stressful. This is not a game that I would have thought, or you might intuitively think would be that stressful, but god damn, it sure was. And I actually already had some foresight about that, funnily enough. I've streamed Factorio once before on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/HOCgaming. For those of you who don't know that I have a Twitch, yes, you can watch me do live things there. I've streamed it before, and I only had like 3 viewers or something, and guess what? Of those 3 viewers, 2 of them had played Factorio for 500 hours! They were experts at the game, and they were backseat driving me all the way to my goddamn death. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but for a game which is about such crazy organizational skill, it really is organizational skill, having backseat drivers and just having people watch, regardless of their status as a driver or not, really can be quite stressful. But let's talk a little bit about what you see on screen right now. Got these burner mining drills, which I'm now phasing out in favour of these electric ones, using the slightly more efficient boiling of water to turn steam generators, as we've already previously discussed. And as I mentioned briefly, the conveyor belts don't need any power, which is lucky, so you can pretty much spread things out nicely. I've got a setup now where coal is being brought up. I say coal, some iron was disrupting the system. What's the word am I looking for? Some iron was polluting my coal supply there. Funny to use pollute on a coal supply. That's a little bit ironic, maybe. I've got coal coming from this patch, going up that conveyor belt there, and joining on with the iron, which then on either side of a single conveyor belt track is sent over to that massive array of furnaces, as you see right here. And these robot arms, once powered, pick off both the iron and the coal, place it into the furnace to be smelted together, and then, once I've placed them, these arms on the other side take out the refined iron plate and pop it onto another conveyor belt for later usage in manufacturing some more advanced materials. And though this video, in its scope, it doesn't quite reach any sophisticated levels of technical prowess, you can imagine how a series of these conveyor belts going through different machines creates a somewhat advanced chain of technological improvement. The glowing blue thing up on the top right just there that I put some stuff in. Oh, thank you, for the bits. I probably already thanked you on stream, but hey, if you're watching this, thanks, man. I like money. The glowing blue thing is a science research. You see in the top right, I'm researching electronics. I mentioned the tech tree earlier. There is quite an extensive tech tree, and it allows you to really go down and specialize in some different routes. Kind of reminiscent of KSP in that way, I suppose, or reminiscent of literally any game with a tech tree. Right now we're researching the kind of first requirements before you can do anything, which is, or it was automation actually, the first one, which allows us to build these little mini auto factories that you see me placing down here, which allows us to turn, right now, these steel plates into cogwheels. You can imagine cogwheels quite an important component in many mechanical systems, and allows the creation of more sophisticated automating manufacturing suites and so on and so forth. Now we're researching electronics, which I think allows us to make PCBs, which allows us to get automation too, which allows us to get something, which allows us to get something else, and so on and so forth. Lorem ipsum. Factorio is a great game. Factorio is a game you should definitely play. If you're of a technical mindset and you kind of revel in this optimization and mapping out logistics to try and make things as efficient and effective as possible, then go for it and experience the pain for yourself rather than hearing me simply describe what that pain was like. Yeah, like I said, there's just never, you can never place things perfectly first time round unless you really are working from a plan. And I think I went in with the hopes of being able to place things perfectly first time round. Like, for instance, right now, another furnace array for all the copper that I'll eventually in the future maybe be mining at sufficient quantities to make use of the potential output from all of those 26 furnaces. And just fretting over whether I've left enough space for all of the automation that may in the future eventually be output from all of the raw resources that I may in the future eventually mine at a high enough capacity. It's a road which is difficult to walk down without severe planning, and I didn't do any of that planning. It's a road that I'm walking down with work at the moment. I work as a software developer, is one word for it. My technical title is a software development engineer. Very sexy. Which I kind of went for. The company that I work for they kind of consulted me on what I wanted to be called. And I shied away from software developer because in my mind that's kind of web applications, user front-end facing. And I'm not really doing that at all. I'm more of a computer scientist, which is the degree title that I am currently studying under. I'm on a year in industry, hence why I'm working. And I'll be going back to finish my master's to do my 4th year at university after this year is over. But computer science, because I'm doing science, I'm developing some algorithms and running kind of a lot of data collection right now. The company I work for, we create treatments for sleep disorders, for disordered breathing during sleep, such as sleep apnea. And if you follow my videos closely, you'll probably have seen already that obstructive sleep apnea research project I did. That was kind of with consultation from this company, and they reached out to me and said, hey, we need you. We need people like you. We need you to do tech stuff for us. The company is called Passion for Life Healthcare, and they have a passion for life and for healthcare, and typically for the past kind of 20 years or so, they've been very much a bog standard over-the-counter sales company selling, these mandibular enhancement devices and kind of nasal and throat sprays in order to alleviate snoring and whatnot, but just over-the-counter goods. And now they're kind of branching into this med tech scene. They need people like me, software development engineers, to produce more intelligent treatments, or not even treatments at this stage. At this stage, I'm more looking at self-assessment of sleep apnea. It's quite difficult to know whether you have sleep apnea or not. Something like 20% of the population has it. Most commonly, middle-aged, overweight people, because of neck physiology, having a big neck, that contributes to the problem. But up to 20% of the population have it, and of those people, about 80% don't know that they have it. Because sleep apnea is, or at least obstructive sleep apnea, is an obstruction that prevents you from breathing. The kind of natural collapse of your airways collapses completely, and you stop breathing entirely during the night. And that happens while you're asleep, and maybe the first few times it wakes you up, but you kind of go back to sleep and, in most cases, forget that it ever happened. You could have sleep apnea, and one of the kind of only symptoms which you might have that will clue you into knowing whether you have it or not, is excessive daytime sleepiness. But anyway, this is all a big tangent from what I was originally talking about. Much like Factorio is a game of logistics, of trying to plan for things before you actually have a need for them, my work right now, developing an app to help you self-assess overnight whether you have sleep apnea or some other sleep-disordered breathing condition. I have an Android app that I developed that links to some motion sensors, and now I'm looking at it and going, boy, I didn't know what I was doing. I better rewrite this app from scratch, and I'm trying to plan how that app should be developed. And my god, Android has its own, what's the word? Idiosyncrasies? Is that a word? Idiosyncratic? It's got its own unique, thank you SpiteH for the follow. It's got its own unique requirements, let's say. Unique way that code must be structured. There are certain places where you should and shouldn't write the code, let's say. And I'm quite new to all of it. I mean, I've blasted my way into app development and kind of just went for it to begin with without much of a care in the world. And now I'm going back and trying to do it the proper way without really knowing what the proper way is. So I'm desperately watching Google Keynote talks and YouTube tutorials and reading the documentation for how to properly manage the life cycles of my activities and how to handle when the screen gets turned and all your data gets lost because you all wrote in all activities. Yeah, a lot of specifics there that I don't have time to go into now. I do want to make a video at some point about my work and the more algorithmic technical side of it. But that's definitely content for another video. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in hearing about that kind of stuff. This is where we managed to get to. While I was rambling away about work, we took our copper source, our copper refinery, and linked it up with our iron to be able to produce some science. Oh, it's the HOCgaming live stream. Resuming shortly. Some red science you saw me producing there. And that allows us to automate the research, whereas to begin with I was just manually kind of doing all that research. And you see here's a comparison to a game 7 hours in. This one I haven't played for maybe a year now. You see 4 rows of science being manufactured up there. And yeah, 7 hours in, and this is much more dense and much more all over the place than what I was gunning for with the structure of the video you've just watched. So yeah, there you have it. Factorio. Interesting game. Definitely a lot of fun for the more technically, logistically minded individuals out there. Would recommend it. Like I said, I found it difficult to kind of carry on playing for any long amount of time because of the pressure of being watched on a live stream, I guess. And so I thought it might be nice to summarize it with a little post-commentary like this. A little bit of a nostalgic video format for me. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. More videos coming soon. I'm really enjoying doing this whatever I feel like kind of system of video making. I'm just here, there, and everywhere, as you've probably seen, with the beatbox live looping, music, singing, rapping, freestyling video I made recently. That was a lot of fun. Go take a look at that if you want something completely different in an entirely different world to what this video was. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you around. The YouTube algorithm isn't showing my videos to people. This is obviously a common complaint of a lot of YouTubers, but yeah, my analytics say that only 1/3 of those 100,000 something subscribers are even being shown my videos anywhere on their website at any time. And so if you found this video by chance and you're going, oh my god, Harvey's making YouTube videos? What the hell? Why wasn't I informed about this? Do ring that bell. It's a little bit of a cliche, but if you hit that bell button, that'll increase the chances of you seeing more videos from me in the future. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, my dear video watcher.